Welcome to Cutting Edge Web Content Development, the podcast where we delve into the world of CMS systems and their crucial role in website and web content development. In each episode, we'll explore the reasons why founders, CEOs, CTOs, and CMOs of web content development companies need CMS systems to thrive in the digital landscape. Get ready to uncover the secrets behind successful website management, content creation, and seamless user experiences. Here's your host, Jonathan Ames.
Welcome to Cutting Edge Web Content Development, a podcast by Butter CMS. On today's episode, we're thrilled to hear from Marta Szmidt, Director of SEO at Rhino Entertainment Group. She's going to share some of her experience with search engine dynamics and optimizing user engagement in the highly regulated iGaming niche. Welcome, Marta.
Thank you so much, Jonathan, for inviting me to this podcast. I'm very excited.
I'm excited too. You're in a very interesting niche and you've had a really exciting career. Maybe tell us about some of the projects you worked on that you really found exciting.
Yes, I started my SEO career in 2015, which is almost a decade ago, in educational sector. So I was doing an internship in marketing department for an English language school. And this is where I first time heard about SEO. And I was very passionate. I remember I was doing mostly link building and some translations for the website because the SEO tech part was already there. And it was very interesting because the school was very cool, especially the director of the school. He was pushing me to be creative, and I even was able to go to Poland, because that was one of our main markets, in order to acquire links. I was flying there over, which is also my home country, and I was talking to universities, giving them discounts for English course in Malta at our school. And in exchange, I was getting backlinks from university website. And guess what? The school still ranks in Poland for the main keywords because none of the bigger competitors was even thinking about such an experimental way of link building. And I remember that it was like a very exciting game for me to see the website moving from 0 to hero, from position 100 or not being even in SERP to position 1 for one of the main keywords. And I got very passionate. And then I researched and I was like, okay, how can I learn more about SEO? How can I learn the tech part as well? What is the most competitive niche? And this is how I found out that iGaming should be one of the best industries to meet SEO experts. And this is why I applied for another position that was 8 years ago in iGaming company. And this is where I learned much more about SEO. And this is where I'm still working, as you said. And till today, I'm still learning. So this learning process will never end.
No, it does never end. And it's interesting. I've never met an experienced SEO that started in SEO. They always started in something else and then picked it up because, like you, they were passionate about it. And that's something I think most people out there should understand is that if you're getting a good SEO, it's because they're really passionate about it, not because they've had university training. It's something you constantly are learning because it's evolving all the time. Unlike really any other career out there, it's really amazing like that. Well, tell us a little bit. So you talked about iGaming. What is iGaming? Just for those who may not know the niche.
iGaming is this term itself. It's like an umbrella term for any activity online related to gambling. And this can be, for example, any casino game. The traditional slots, blackjack, roulette are now available in the virtual form for users. They can play those games online. But also iGaming refers to sports betting, which means when a user is betting on any sports event, football was very important trend topic last week, or for example, on esports as well, you can bet nowadays. So what is special about iGaming is that we can defer 3 different business models. So we have operators, online casinos, where I work now, and betting platforms, where the player can do all the gambling activities. Then we have affiliate websites, and those, like always, compare the casinos, the operators, but they also review the operators. And then we have providers. So this is the third business model, and providers supply and provide the games and software for the operators.
Wow. So it's a complex niche with affiliates and then end results. there is an e-commerce function where there's money is actually transactionally being handled. So what are the challenges you have with optimizing for an iGaming site, especially compared to like some other, e-commerce site where money is also being transacted?
Yeah, there are a lot of challenges. The industry itself and the business itself is very complex. Almost everything is complex about it, starting with the platform, even when you build casino. But I think the biggest change is that when you build this platform, you never think about SEO. It's changing slowly, that I think more and more, especially operators, start to think about SEO and do the business with SEO in mind and hire some agencies. But the main focus is how can we get the license, right? Because if you want to operate, you need to have not only big budget, but also you need to apply for casino license. So this is already the first difference. And it's very challenging because as an SEO, we mostly get the jobs at the end. So we're like the last step. The casino is already making money. The marketing channels, yes, the channels are working, but we want now to protect our branded keywords. Oh, let's call some SEOs. Let them do the work. But then the SEO, in-house SEO, and it's different than working with an agency, faces massive, most of the times, challenges. And I think the biggest challenge is the technical challenge and the budget. So when I say the technical challenge is because it's a headless CMS, especially for operators, okay, for affiliates, most of the time it's going to be WordPress. You need to make sure that the website is even crawlable by Google bots sometimes. You need to make sure that you are able to add content or headings. You need to make sure your website is not going to be the index every time there is some development in place. So it starts with hundreds of Jira tickets, big discussions with dev teams, and a lot of motivation from your side. And this is how was or is my experience most of the times joining the operator side. I used to work for affiliation, and the tech part is much easier there because you have mostly plugins and, the normal WordPress that is very SEO friendly. And then the second point that I mentioned are the budgets. And when I say budgets, I always say we need to have a conversation about money. When I get the position, I always say, let's have a look at our link profile, because if we don't even have a chance to get the amount and quality of links as the top main competitors, we shouldn't even start SEO, because without links, it's very difficult to run in this industry. I would say that the links are more important than the content, but in this industry, but at the same time, content, it's a must as well. So you cannot also rank without having the topical authority on your website, and you have to build topical authority on your website with the content. So adding SEO content part is something that UX and product team are maybe not necessarily against, but it's always going to be pushed to the bottom of the website, because as I mentioned, the user coming to an iGaming website mostly wants to play or find a casino. They're not really interested so much in reading the content, but also it depends. So also there are exceptions, like, for example, building casino reviews on an affiliate website, it's a must, or writing slot reviews on an operator website, it's a must as well.
Is that a challenge in iGaming, is trust, having people trust that you're a credible site, that their transactions are going to be safe there, or just the way it would be in an e-commerce environment, or is it maybe even more of a challenge, a trust factor?
Oh, there is a big stigma in iGaming industry. You can imagine there's a little big competition, and we can get negative SEO attacks in terms of repetition as well. So there are a lot of fake reviews. If you start doing well in one market, the competitors are going to come after you, and you will start getting maybe not 100% real reviews about your website, but there are also customers who just lost money, and it's natural to get frustrated and write bad review. And this is something, so reputation, brand, it's very important. And obviously the fairness of each casino that has a license, that it's, regulated, it's very important. And this is why each operator has big teams working behind the scenes on reputation or fairness. And the marketing does everything to reply to even the bad reviews as well. So it is not easy to build the trust, And most of the casinos in comparison to e-commerce sites are not going to have the best reviews. So this is a fact.
Yeah, no, very interesting. I've worked in short-term lending before, and kind of like gaming, it has issues in general with trust and with reviews and stuff. So really important, that side of it. So, all right, you have all of these challenges. You're having to come in as an SEO after the content and the site have been built. You have different CMSs that you're having to work in. You're having the challenge of, extreme competition and regulation. What are the foundational SEO strategies that you prioritize for an iGaming site?
I think it's very important what I mentioned before, the technical foundation. So make sure that you are best friends with the developers, with the product team, and make sure that your site is accessible and crawlable by Google. This is very important. Without that, it doesn't matter how many links or how many and how good you see your content, you will probably have some problems to rank. Set up an amazing tracking system. I think we need to monitor the site all the time because of complexity of the product. It happens each time, even for the tasks that are not related to SEO, that something breaks. So it's very important to be aware each time there was a bigger development, run a quick audit. Can you use automation? Can you use some tools that will help you with that? Because don't forget, casino sites are not small sites. There are sometimes thousands of URLs. So it's very important to invest in monitoring. And when I say monitoring, I mean daily monitoring. It's very important to invest in SEO audits that are automated. You want to see if there is some movement with keywords as well, because maybe you were just attacked by your competitor or your links were removed. This is just one example that happens. And so this is maybe what also differs to other industries. I would say in other industries, I check the rankings once a week. In iGaming industry, I almost check twice a day because I'm obsessed. And so, but this is me. I don't know if my colleagues do the same, but I would say daily, at least reporting on the keywords that is automated. It's important just because of how complex the platform is. So this is the foundation that I would say it's like the technical basis. Once this is done and all your tracking is in place, you can breathe. Then you can start to think about link building. And you need to have big budget for link building because it only works not only with quality, but with quantity in iGaming. So there were recent studies that were released that 96% of the top 10 results for competitive keywords had over 1,000 unique recurring domains linked. And I would say that in some markets for iGaming industry, those competitive keywords, those websites only rank if they have sometimes even 3,000 unique backlinks to one page. So it is about quality as well. And don't get me wrong, but authority matters in link building online casino, but it's also a big amount of budgets those companies for link building. I remember I got once a job at one of the operators and I wasn't able to spend the amount of budget I had for link building. It was physically not possible. It was so big. So I would say like make sure you have the budget in place and make sure that you are creative with the links. Not every casino has big brand. It has a big brand. So it's very important to see that you can maybe cooperate with some external agencies and get high quality digital PR campaigns that will drive good links to your website. I think that this is important, but it's also important to see the topicality of those campaigns. You want to have the anchor related to your website as well, because it can go both ways. And it's important to outreach yourself to the developers. You can get better prices as well, rather than to work with agencies. And also, I think it's important to really invest in your internal resources. What does that mean? So your company mostly have as well a PR team, or if it doesn't have, speak to the CEO and say, we need to get links. So each time you have an interview, please mention to link to our website. I think that's the basic, but this is how you get the links as well.
Very interesting. So Here's a question probably most people in a brand would have. Is it something that is reasonable to expect that when you start a project with an SEO, that they could give you an idea of how much of a budget you need to have for link building based upon who your competitors are and the keywords you're trying to rank for?
Yeah, this is one of the first talks you should have when getting the job. I think you can estimate the budget, but obviously you need to have experience in link building to get the numbers right. You need to know, okay, in this market, this is the average price per link. You start probably working with agencies in the beginning. So you look at the top 5, top 3, top 5 competitors. They're mostly like big casino brands, and you can estimate this is the amount we will need. And it's not only, okay, we need to get those links in 3 months. It's about the link velocity, and it takes time. Like we all know, SEO takes time, but especially in link building, I wouldn't start an aggressive campaign. I would try to do something that will affect, probably in 6 or 7, 8 months, but not in 1 month.
Yes. So there's a good question too, is a lot of SEOs struggle with setting appropriate expectations, because for a non-SEO mind, they think, all right, I'm going to invest this money. I'm going to either bring on your agency or hire you in the company. When do I see results? And often they're thinking, like you said, 1 or 2 months, we'll get results, right? How do you set appropriate expectations as far as how quickly results will be seen and maybe where those results would be seen?
Yeah, I think I start with the correct KPIs, because if I do see that we are not there where the competitors are in terms of brand recognition even, I cannot target the main money keywords like online casino, for example. But I do recommend to start with long tail keywords or with keywords that I think Google Search Console. So it's very important as well to use the internal data to set KPIs, in my opinion, because the third-party tools are still third-party tools. So they don't know what makes money exactly. And the search volume is just an estimation. So I think it's important to look into the internal data and set the correct KPIs based on what you see, what really brings money. And it's not as competitive as the main money keywords, because if it's not realistic to rank for them, it will be a waste of money and time to start to go after them. And after the discussion and explanation with management, you can also go ahead and do your job without feeling the pressure. But I think it's important to do the educational part first and to explain this is where we are, this is the data. And I think this is what really makes the job is the fact. So when I do my presentations, I always say this is where the number of links the competitors have, and this is where we are. So we have 20 times less links. It's not going to be natural to get those links within the next even year. So let's go after less competitive keywords. And let's take a bit longer. So we do a natural process of content and link building.
Yeah, that's really important, that what you just said, that it won't look natural to link building. So if you're building links too quickly, that shows up in the algorithm. They say, wait a minute, this is an unnatural spike, and you can get penalized for that. So yeah, very important to have a kind of a natural growth of links there. Okay, so let's move to a tactical side now. Let's talk about content creation. So how do you approach content creation and keyword strategy for an iGaming audience?
I don't think the content strategy differs much to any other industry. You want to create a topical authority on your website, and you want to cover all the topics that are relevant to Google and to the user. Because in iGaming, we can be a bit more aggressive. We do content for Google as well, not only for the user. And it is important to have a look at the, again, main competitors first, but also at the same time to use the internal data and tracking system that all the or most of the iGaming companies have. We can see what are the top games per market, and we can decide to prioritize them with an adding content and review there before we move to any other important keywords or games. So I think this is a combination of the normal standard practice, but using the massive data we have. I think this is one of the advantages of SEO for iGaming or casino SEO, that most of the companies have amazing internal data that you can really leverage. And in terms of content creation, I do believe that answering the user intent is very important, creating helpful content, adding something that is unique for your brand maybe the special bonus offer on the slot, or maybe some feature that none of the other competitors had. I think this is what is the game changer, because just by covering the topicality, creating content on every main pages and targeting the correct keywords, this is not going to work anymore. So you need to find the unique aspect of content creation as well in iGaming. And one of the things I think works the best is to hire people that are passionate, that are players themselves, maybe ex-poker players or someone who really wants to write about it, and maybe even someone who's just a better expert in playing the games and knows everything about them, but it's not the best writer. You can always proofread the content. But I think the expertise that we all know now, it's especially for your money, your life website, so important. It's very important in iGaming.
Yeah. So what you're talking about is not just writing content that brings people to the site, but understanding the user intent and creating content that also converts them into a player. Is that correct?
Exactly. We want to have conversion of our website as soon as possible. We want to target the money intended keywords of the transactional keywords first, but we cannot target them without the informational keywords and navigational keywords as well. So we do have sometimes such a big brand names, like the search volume of the brand name of your company can be higher than the actual industry keyword. Just one example is Tipico in Germany, which is a sports betting website and casino. So it's an operator. The search volume is over 1 million. I think it's like 1.5 million in Ahrefs. Why the search volume for betting in Germany, wetten in German, it's 900. So you don't care about SEO. You don't care about the money keywords if you are Tipico, right? But what you care about, it's your brand protection. You want to make sure you own the space, the top 10 or even top 20 for your brand name. And I would say this is also a unique part of optimization in online casino or in the iGaming industry, because your brand sometimes can reach a very, very big potential in terms of driving user to making a payment. Why? Because if someone types your brand name, you can assume they want to convert. So it's very important also to see the branded keywords as money keywords and to start maybe with brand protection. So this is something that I noticed most of the operators in the iGaming industry are doing either in-house or they outsource, is the brand protection website.
Okay. And what is a brand protection website?
So a brand protection website is basically a website that writes review about your brand. And it's most of the time a website that will have the exact match of your brand name plus main keyword. So it can be your brand name / casino. So most of the times the biggest brands in online casino industry, they own those kind of domains. And the brand protection is done by creating additional content about the casino or sports betting company, reviewing the payment methods, reviewing the games they have available. Most of the times, those brand protection websites are done per market. And the idea is to appear for the branded keywords in SERP and very high, obviously. And the moment when the user clicks on the call to action on such a website, there is a redirection to the main brand. So you protect your brand because it's also something very specific for this industry that a lot of affiliates are ranking for your brand name because they're reviewing you.
Yes. So in other words, you're competing with your affiliates to some degree to try to fill up the first page of results and make sure that those people don't get captured or taken somewhere else.
Yes, but we also need the affiliates. So it's not only competition. The competition happens on the branded level, on the keyword and money, organic money keyword level. It's cooperation because we pay to affiliates money to be placed on their website. They rank very well per market, and they think sometimes even 80% of the business is coming from the affiliation.
That's interesting. I know at the beginning of your discussion on tactics and strategies, you mentioned link building as a really important part. What have you found is most effective in building a backlink profile? Obviously, you mentioned going in person was one of the first things that you did to build relationships and backlinks. What do you find are some of the other tactics that work well?
Oh, going in person in iGaming industry would probably not work. That was only possible in the educational niche. I think in iGaming, the leverage of the own brand is the most effective. But you need to be realistic. If you have a small brand and small budget, it's not going to work. I always say it depends where you are and who you are. So if you are an operator, I think it's easy when you have sports betting as well on your website. When your platform offers sports, I think it's much easier to build natural links and creating content that actually people want to link to. I think that's the most effective strategy because you might get natural links even. Again, the same, if you have a big brand, link building part is much easier and much more effective. If you are a small casino without sports betting, it's going to be very tough. And this is where I would use the digital PR campaigns, and that can work very well. If the agency that creates this campaign is very good, then this can work very well for you as a small casino. For affiliation is a bit different. I would say the affiliates also have big challenges because they sometimes compete with operators as well. So certain keywords, they have mixed results. So you can see affiliates and operators for certain money keywords. So this is for sure something where affiliates are more shiny with the content in terms of rankings than with links.
Interesting. So as far as going back to content, do you find that it's easy to understand where the balance should be between putting resources into creating content, refreshing content, or say linking? You just kind of have a set percentage that you say, I'm going to put my time and money into each of these buckets, or does it depend totally upon the situation of the client?
It depends on the situation of the client. So if you already have existing link profile that is strong, I would prioritize the content if the content is not so strong as well. I think it's very important to refresh content, to add fresh content and see what are the topics that haven't been covered. Do we have a blog on the website, for example? Does it make sense to have it? What about the competitors? Are they covering topics and do they have main pages that we don't have it? So it depends on the situation. At the same time, if I see a big gap in link building, prioritization is based on what are our KPIs. If we say we go after the low-hanging fruits where we know we have some traction, then I will check, do we have enough content there? If not, I would prioritize content there. If the content is there, I would go after link building and refreshing, optimizing the existing content. So it also depends on the situation, how the existing website runs already. Sometimes you find a situation that there is no content, almost no links. So you have an existing brand, but you don't have any SEO. And I would still start with technical SEO first before I would move to content, because it happens very often that you need to create a Jira ticket in order to add content or headings. So those situations make SEO content optimization very difficult. So to be independent in this industry, it's something that I notice is very important. And before even starting on content creation, I would make sure that my team and myself, that we can be independent by handling the SEO part.
Excellent. Well, Marta, I really appreciate the insights that you've provided. This is a very competitive niche that you're in, and you obviously have a lot of experience in kind of coolly thinking about this and allocating your resources in the right ways. Tell me, if you could go back in time and meet yourself right at the beginning of your career, what advice would you give yourself? Something you know now that you didn't know then?
Start earlier. I was so sad that I started so late and it was so difficult. I was 30 when I first started to work for the language school. I wish I were 20. I think that would be my first advice. Forget what you studied. I was studying science of pedagogic at the university in Germany. I went abroad. I would choose different. Nowadays, I would choose SEO. Back then, I think I would just choose something related more to coding, probably, right? So that would be my advice. I would change completely my career. But at the same time, I think I learned so much through my study. And yeah, I would just like to start earlier with SEO. That would be the only thing I would like to change.
That's excellent. All right. Well, where do you find your inspiration? Like, are there any books, podcasts, conferences that really kind of charge you up, give you new ideas?
I think I read across the border everything related to SEO. And most of the times I listen to podcasts, but I also read a lot of newsletters. I think I subscribe everywhere. SEO Formula, I think it's one of my favorite newsletter. I have one industry expert, Ivana Flynn, that I can recommend for this podcast as well. She has her own YouTube channel as well, where I get inspiration. And most of the times I just do my daily read of what is happening in the industry. It's very easy for me to see what is relevant and what can I skip because it's not related for iGaming, or it's something that it's not going to change the world for me. So
is there any software that you would recommend to people out there, working in SEO that you really like, that you found is solid?
I really like for the technical SEO, the Jet Octopus. I think it's one of the best softwares for automation, for SEO auditing. I think it works very well for iGaming industry because besides of Screaming Frog that we all use, this software has a very good usability. And I notice it's very easy to find all the mistakes much faster than with Screaming Frog. Besides of that, I'm testing at the moment few new tools, but I wouldn't like to do. Rather than that, I think one of the best tools I have nowadays on the market is the Zip Tie. Besides of Jet Octopus tool for SEO audits, I can recommend Zip Tie. It is a new tool that I'm testing at the moment, but so far it works very well. It does has the AI overviews, maybe not so relevant for the iGaming industry at the moment, but it also has automation for checking your website's indexation based on your sitemap, for example, which I think is brilliant. And it works really, really well. For daily tracking of your rankings, I recommend SERanking.com tool, which works excellent. And also this tool is used by my team for tracking of the backlinks that we're getting. You can see they have been removed. You can put the price. So I think those three tools are very good.
Excellent. Thanks so much for the advice on that. Well, tell people if they want to get in touch with you, Marta, after the show, and they're like, wow, Marta's got some great ideas. Where could they follow you, or where could they find you online?
You can just Google my name, or you can go directly to my website, seobymarta.com. And yeah, I'm happy if you have any questions to answer them. You can find me on LinkedIn as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Marta, for being on. Really appreciated all your insights.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It was a pleasure.
Cutting Edge Web Content Development is brought to you by Butter CMS. To find out how you can build better with Butter, stop wasting dev time, and free your marketers from your legacy CMS, visit buttercms.com. Also, make sure to search for Cutting Edge Web Content Development in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Make sure to click subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. On behalf of the team here at Butter CMS, thank you for listening.